blow your mind away. Hey, hey. Welcome to the club now, gonna pump it up now. This is an emergency, music is my galaxy. Welcome to the club now, everybody's up now. We've got it going on until the break of dawn. Welcome to the club now.
And here we have the colorful, yet terrifying Five Nights at Freddy's security breach figures. Starting off with the main man himself, Glam Freddy. Now before we dive right into this figure, we're going to take a brief look at the packaging. It says Five Nights at Freddy's. It has Buff Helpy. I know that this is not Buff Helpy, I just wanted to briefly mention it. It has his name. In the back of the box, we have the character roster here. And of course, one of the things that people have mentioned is, yeah, this new series does not have a Build-A-Figure, but I am glad that it doesn't come with a Build-A-Figure. Reason why is because when Pizzeria Simulator came out, Scrap Baby was the Build-A-Figure they had to build. And for me, I love that figure, but I did not love the character choices that Funko, decided to use. Like, for example, Orville the Elephant and the pig character that escapes my name at the moment. Those weren't characters I really wanted a figure of. Would have preferred either Scrap Trap or one of the Rockstar characters, but I'm glad they didn't do that. Now, let's open this figure up and see how good he actually is. And here is Glam Freddy, open and out of his packaging. Now, as for the articulation, it's pretty much the same as we come to know with the rest of the Five Nights at Freddy's figures. Of course, with FNAF 4 introducing the waist swivel, it's pretty much the same. What I thought, and probably what many others thought, that this was probably a hinge joint. Sadly, that's not the case. Now, a common theme in this video is going to be reuse. Glam Freddy right here. He's reusing a Funtime Freddy's head. Yeah, you can totally see the similarities, Maybe there's some little differences here and tweaks, obviously, but it's basically his head molded a little bit differently, which is very strange. And as you can see here, there's a line right here where Funtime's Freddy is the same way. It's a little bit different. As for accessories, Glam Freddy comes with this microphone and this microphone stand, which looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, he has a hard time holding the microphone stand, but as for the microphone itself, he holds it really well, like a normal person, or in this case, a bear. It's very colorful. I love the design. I love the zigzag pattern here. The makeup on here. I like how his hat slanted. I like that look. And he has blue toenails for his feet. He's very slim. This is probably the slimmest Freddy we ever gotten. Actually, no, that's not true. Technically, Nightmare Freddy, but even then. Now on to the next figure. Let me take a look. Chica. And here we have Chica, and I've got to say, this is the most well articulated figure from the whole entire series. Foxy was one of those characters as well where he was really well articulated, but not to the extent of where I can do this. Look at this. This is amazing. Come on, think of one figure from the series that can do that. None can do this. Now as for the articulation, she has wrist joints, again, knees, hips, waist, and head. Of course, can't really do much up and down, but even then, I don't care. That alone is just awesome. Glam Chica, wow, she's pretty cool. Now, as for her other problem, her head is basically a reuse of the FNAF 1 Chica. The rest of her body, take a look at it, has texture. I don't know if it's supposed to have texture, but even then, some parts feel a little more smoother than others. And of course, with the original FNAF 1 Chica, has texture. So looking at the two, you can see they have the texture, especially looking at it from the side. You can see that her beak is a little more different. And then of course there's the eyes and everything else, and the hair. Looking at it from the side. Her colors look really cool. I love the pink. Love this green, black, and polka dot type of stripes here. For her accessories, she comes with this guitar, and this guitar looks really cool. I love the way it looks. It's nicely painted, That's what I expect from the line. She doesn't really hold it. That's the problem. And getting to this hand, it's really hard. It doesn't seem to want to. And as you can see, oh, there he goes. Okay, now it wants to go. And I guess she can do this, but then, you know, that looks kind of stupid. That's fine. I mean, she can just hold it like this, and even then, that's still pretty cool. On to the next figure, Roxanne. And here we have Roxanne Wolf. And as you can see, I tried to do a similar stance, just like Glam Rock Chica, but unfortunately, she can't really pull it off too well. But that's fine. That's okay. And as for the last remaining reuse figure of the wave, now as we get into the figure, of course, she can hold her guitar really well. It was a bit of a problem for me to get this guitar in because the way how their hands are molded, it's a pain in the butt. It really is. It's a real pain in the butt to get some of these accessories onto their hands, but paints it nicely. All the keys and everything looks really good. Love the little pattern here and here. Yeah, I like it. As for Roxanne herself, you know, looking at it, I love everything from down here. Everything from down here is fine. I love everything from down here. It's just the head that they reused. Of course, she reuses Funtime Foxy's head, and looking at it, yeah, you can see the resemblance. Of course, one thing that's different here, of course, this is smooth. This interesting fur texture, just like Glam Rock, Freddy and Chica. So that's still keeping in line with her as well. But yeah, it's a weird thing that they're just reusing these heads for some reason. Of course, the thing that's different is she has a hairpiece and Funtime Foxy does not. Go to the back. From the side, and as for articulation, it's the same thing. You know, knees, hips, and everything all can move the same way the rest of the series has been so far. Of course, with the addition waist wheel, which even with that hairpiece does not get in the way, so that's good. It has articulation up here, but yeah, you're not going to be getting her to look up or down. And of course, problems with this same figure lines using the same ball joints. Now, on the previous ones, they weren't that bad. They didn't fall apart as easy, but for some reason, this new wave of figures just tendency to pop off, which is not good. That's not really good. I wish they tightened that up a bit more, but honestly, with them reusing the heads, I don't even know what they will. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. I like the colors. I like the fact that she's a wolf, because I love wolves. But there's Roxanne, and she's the thing. She's the thing. She's Foxy trying to pretend to be a wolf. Enough said. On to Montgomery. And here we have Montgomery Gator. I was not thinking about picking this guy up just because as of right now, the game is not released yet, so none of us have zero clue about how his personality, his character is in the game yet. But I'm pleasantly surprised by this figure. Playing with him, he's really good. I love the way how this figure moves. It's nice and smooth. Of course, the ball joints still pop out of this guy. So let's get right into this figure. Oh yeah, and the articulation for this guy. His head moves really well up and down as well. His arms can get real crazy. You know, he can start, just running at you. Same thing with the knees. Go out that much. Can go forward that much. Still, there's nothing. The waist, wow. Good waist articulation. I like the fact that this is a molded piece here, and the spikes are, they're not sharp that's gonna stab you type of thing, but they are pointy, so be aware. Yeah, and I love his shoulder pads. Looks really cool. Love the polka dot and the stripes and everything. And his little mohawk. Yeah, I don't see the reuse of Funtime Freddy's head. Maybe this, I guess, but I don't know. But even then, if he is, it looks like his own thing, As far as the others go, he's unique in his own way, so I like that. Also, one other interesting thing, I wanted to see if he had eyes under there, and he does have eyes, and they're actually kind of painted. Let me show you if I can. They are painted, but it is painted purple or some type of color. But they're theirs. Also, speaking of which, the glasses, I think they're supposed to be a different color. I think they're supposed to be gold or yellow. You know, you can fix this pretty easily on your own. I'm thinking about doing that myself if that is the case, but I love this figure. For a figure I wasn't expecting to like, I like. And now, for the final figure, we're going to take a look at the main villain, Vani. And here we have Vani, the main villain for Security Breach, and I'm impressed. This figure is really good. Of course, it's its own unique sculpt, so it's not going to be borrowing anything from, you know, FNAF 1, 2, 3. And of course, considering the fact this is not an animatronic, it's not going to be so hindered as the other ones are because they're more bulky designs and stuff like that. So, speaking of her design, for accuracy, it's pretty spot on. Of course, with the minus the joints that break up the sculpt. I do wish it was more kind of like a Marvel Legends type of figure where it has seamless joints and everything like that, where it doesn't stick out. And the texture and the detail, it looks really cool. I love the stitch pattern here, and there it has her in the glove on the side of here. This here is blue, which is pretty interesting. A light blue, like a dark kind of whitish gray, and those eyes are some freaky eyes. Of course, she's doing that kind of pog thing that people keep talking about. It doesn't look too bad in person. I mean, it's noticeable, yeah, but it's not too bad. Another thing people keep talking about, yeah, that's pretty thick. I'm not gonna lie. And the knife is pretty cool. It's a bit thick, I will say that. I don't like the thickness of this knife. I wish it was a little bit more skinny, but it's fine. All I need for her to do is just stab some kids, and she's probably gonna, you know, be in a relationship with Spring Bonnie Trap, Glitch Trap, whatever. And speaking of Spring Bonnie, here is a comparison with my custom Spring Bonnie, and they look pretty good together. That totally works. And of course, same problem applies to this figure as well. The joints are easily removable, but they easily also pop back on, so that's not a worry. As for articulation, her head can go way up, but she does have this kind of here, like a double ball peg joint. That's pretty interesting. She can move down that much. She can tilt, and so they nailed that aspect to it. And her arms go all the way around, can go all the way out. She can bend 90 degrees at her elbow, and her wrists do rotate, so that's nice. As for her waist, she can, you know, just helicopter around all of a sudden, so that her legs can go all the way out there, and her knees can go back that much. Of course, I forgot her legs can move forward that much. Overall, a really good figure, really solid figure. I absolutely enjoyed this. Now, as for my final thoughts on these figures, overall, I like them. Granted, they're not the best figures that Funko has made, but neither were the previous ones. Of course, there's the issues of the ball joints, but we come to expect that at this point. And of course, with the reused 3 head molds from the previous figures, which is of course very cheap and lazy. I don't know why they're doing it with a new game specifically when they can just... I imagine they had the artwork for the characters, but I guess they just felt like, nah, which, yeah, I don't like that, but, you know, there aren't these bodies right now. They look good. Freddy pulls off really well. Chica doesn't look as bad as what people were saying. The only one that sticks out like a sore thumb is Roxanne. Roxanne is basically just, you know, Foxy cosplaying as Roxanne. And Vani just looks really good. And the pose she's holding out right now is just, ooh, it's just so creepy and menacing. I love it. I really love it. As for Montgomery, a figure I wasn't really expecting to like, just because it's not, you know, Chica or Freddy or Foxy or someone recognizable from the previous series, since it's a brand new character. Same thing with Roxanne, but I just like the fact that she's a wolf, and I love wolves, so... But with Montgomery, it's just, I thought he'll be like the least interesting one, but he's really fun. He's a fun figure. I love the way how it moves around. I love how, like, his head can move up just slightly more up than the other characters can, and then just the colors. He's really a good figure. I really recommend them. If you didn't get the rest of these figures, which I personally, just get Chica alone. Just come on. But like, yeah, these figures are just very mixed bag. But even then, you know, with the controversial behind them, I say get it. If you really want these figures, get it. You don't have to, considering the fact there's no Build-A-Figure piece, which is another thing people complained about. But again, you have your options. If you want to get the whole entire wave, get it. If you only want to get a few select characters, then that's fine. Well, this has been Max 5 Martin X. And remember, stay in your play pretend where the fun ain't got no end.